I cannot be silent.
Back when Eisenhower was the president, golf courses is where most of his time was spent. So I never really listened to what the president said, because in general I believed that the general was politically dead. But he always seemed to know when the muscles were about to be flexed, because I remember him saying something, mumbling something about a military-industrial complex.
As I have walked among the desperate, rejected, and angry young men, I have told them that Molotov cocktails and rifles would not solve their problems. I have tried to offer them my deepest compassion while maintaining my conviction that social change comes most meaningfully through nonviolent action. But they ask, and rightly so, what about Vietnam? They ask if our home nation wasn't using massive doses of violence to solve its problem, to bring about the changes it wanted. Their questions hit home, and I knew that I could never again raise my voice against the violence of the oppressed in the ghettos without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government. For the sake of those boys, for the sake of this government, for the sake of the hundreds of thousands trembling under our violence, I cannot be silent.
Each one reach one, each one time.
I cannot be silent.
Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. Everyone must play a part. Everyone's got to go to work. Work for peace. Spirit say work.
I cannot be silent.
Good afternoon, and you are listening to the United We Strike Radio Marathon for March 8th, 2014. And just in case you didn't recognize it, that little 2-minute lead-in was to announce We Cannot Be Silent with Phil Restino and Larry Pinckney. And gentlemen, you are live. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Gary. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the March 8th, 2014 half-hour broadcast of We Cannot Be Silent with Phil Restino and Larry Pinckney. And we're once again happy to be part of the monthly UnitedWeStrike.com radio marathon. And that's the second Saturday of every month. And there's all kinds of good programs on it. And I would suggest, if you're just tuning in, to go to the website, UnitedWeStrike.com, and look into all the good things that's offered there. Well, it is the half-hour broadcast, and Larry Pinckney, the co-host of the show, for those of you who don't know, is a veteran of the Black Panther Party. The original Black Panther Party, was a political prisoner for 10 years, has been a lifelong activist and for peace and justice, and has been writing columns for decades now, and you could see a heck of a lot of Larry's body of work at blackactivistwg.org, and that's Black Activist Writers Guild. And so let's see if Larry's here. Larry, are you with us?
Sure am. Good to hear your voice, Phil. Thank you, Gary, for the tremendous job you always do, and thanks to all the great folks at the United We Strike.
Oh, good. Good to have you back, Larry. And the United We Strike motto is don't buy, don't comply, ask why. And the short of that is basically try to check out from the system on the 15th of the month if you can. That's what's asked of folks. And it's amazing to see how tied in we really are to the system, Larry. You know, when you decide to check out of it and unplug for a day, and you know, we realize that we we have power. And when we're not playing into all the crap that's out there. And I'm just really glad we found UnitedWeStrike.com. You and I were speaking earlier in the week, Larry, it just catching up with each other, and we thought we'd just air out whatever's on our mind this Saturday. And do you have anything that's bugging you right now, Larry, that you'd like to...
Well, I guess I definitely think it's important to sort of flush out the fact that, and you touched on this already, Phil, that it's really we the people who have the power, but we only have that power if we exercise it. The Democrats and the Republicans only have the power that we allow them to have, and it's really time for us to, as I always say, get off the plantation. Get off the Democrat and Republican Party plantation, because that's all it is, one big plantation, really, to keep us divided, keep us confused, play us off against each other, manipulate us, set us up, frame us, whatever they can do. But once we recognize that, and as you said, we unplug from the system and start plugging in to and with each other, then we truly have power. Then we truly are we the people who are exercising the power. So that's where I was coming from today.
Yes, and that means getting outside, in your own community and just having small talk with people. I think of the joke about in New York City, don't make eye contact, as far as how to live in New York. I don't know the exact words of it, but man, what I've been finding, and I don't have any trouble striking up conversations with folks. I enjoy it, actually, and what you find is we're so much alike. People are people, and you find that out by talking with each other. Otherwise, we're left to these labels we just assign people. Oh, that's probably some right-wing Republican. Oh, that's probably some lefty liberal. And you never even shared a hello with the person, and we've already got our minds made up of what they're about, and it's the conditioning has been really something else. And so I'm suggesting just talk to people. You don't have to have a big conversation. And I remember, Larry, years ago reading the Dale Carnegie books, the ones that How to Win Friends and Influence People, and how do you start a conversation with it? Just ask them a question, about themselves. You don't have to think of something to break the ice. You could just ask a question, and that's enough to get it going. And to further the discussion, you ask the person questions about themselves, and everybody, for the most part, enjoys talking about themselves, and it gets easier with practice. And I think you said it earlier, Larry, and we say it pretty much every month. We are the answer that we've been looking for. We've got to stop holding on to this idea that someone's going to come along and save us. It ain't going to happen. And it is up to us. One of the things that I thought about this morning, Larry, I wanted to bring it up on the program today, was in the morning when I have my coffee, I sometimes turn on the TV to get the weather, the local news weather, and then I'll flip over to C-SPAN for the morning call-in show. They call it Washington Journal. And they have the Democrat line, the Republican line, the Independent line. But you can call in and every now and then I'll get through But this morning there was this woman on about her book about the dragnet society we're living in. And this is something that's a result of the 9/11 attacks, the false flag attack of 9/11, which is over 12 years now. And, you know, you look at everything that's gone down in these past 12 years, the horrific, nonstop war making around the world, the police state here at home, it's all justified by the false narrative of the 9/11 attacks. And some of us have been saying for years, you know, this crap is not going to stop until this country gets honest about 9/11 and deals with it. And so there was one caller that called in and you know, said, look, I've looked at your website. It was called Pro Politic or something like that. And the website that this woman works for is supposed to cover stories that don't get covered, you know, or real investigative reporting. And this woman called in, and it is part of a campaign of some 9/11 truth folks that do call into C-SPAN in the morning. And she asked, you know, how come with Building 7 coming down in free fall speed, you haven't focused on that story? You know, your website says that's what you do. You you take on these stories. And then the host, Pedro, interjected and said, you know, to the guest, this, by the way, this is a campaign of people that do call in with the 9/11 issue. You can answer it if you want or move on. And the woman just said, I'm not aware of Building 7, and just Larry,
she was not aware of Building 7?
Not aware of the issue. You know, and that's what people, I think we got to turn up the volume on it, and Gary and some of the other folks at UnitedWeStrike.com know that you and I also do a once a month program over on WolfSpiritRadio.com on the third Monday night of each month at 10 p. Eastern Time. And it's a 2-hour live call-in show. And I did get to speak with Bob McIlvaine this week, Larry. I don't know if I told you. Yeah, and he's going to join us on the show. And he's part of this this campaign that's going on. I'm going to try to bring it up on the computer here. It's called the High Rise Safety Initiative, is what it's called. And what that does is it's another version of what they tried to do a few years back with NYC Can. They're getting petitions signed on the New York City ballot, try to get it on the November ballot, to have the voters vote on this initiative, which would force the New York City building department, whatever the heck it's called, to investigate how Building 7 collapsed. It's called HighRiseSafetyNYC.org. HIGHRISE SafetyNYC.org. And this is what they're doing is they're taking the official story, the NIST report, the government's official story, and saying, okay, this is you said that fire weakens these buildings and it can make any of these high-rise buildings collapse in free fall speed and kill all the people in it if there's a fire. You know, so you need to update the standards in New York City, and it's got to force them to deal with it. So it's a ballot initiative process, and they are looking for support because they need to get quite a few signatures to get on the ballot. And part of getting those signatures is hiring people to go out and get those signatures. And so I wanted to mention that to the listeners today. Please take a look at highrisesafetynyc.org. And Bob McIlvain is the 9/11 family member. He lost his son Bobby that day, and he was one of the few who was able to actually have his son's body found, where so many others were just blown up into pieces. Yeah. And they did an investigation on his son's. You may already know this story, Larry, but they did an investigation on his son's death. You know, he was there with the doctor and everything, and it was determined that the son was walking into the lobby of one of the towers, and he was killed by debris from an explosion that blew the marble and everything in the lobby outward. And it outward. Mm-hmm. So the lobby of the building was blown up, you know, and he's saying, you know, a Muslim didn't murder my son, is what he's saying. You know, who did it? And that's what he's been pushing all along for the past 12 plus years. He's a father that does not want to give up trying to find the people who murdered his son. And so
well,
anyway.
let me just say that I think that it's important not just for New York City, but really for the nation, indeed for the entire world. We have got to stop, as we used to say back in the day, stop going for the goats. In other words, stop buying the lies, the myth, the narrative, if you will, of this government. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. It's the same. They feed from the same trough. Okay, and you know, the fact of the matter is that we do live in a de facto police/surveillance state. That's what the NSA, NDAA, et cetera, is really all about. We live in a de facto police surveillance state. Now, it does not have to be that way, but it will continue to be that way until we get a critical mass. I didn't say the masses. I didn't say that. I said a critical mass of concerned people who will not accept no for an answer, who will not accept the narrative of the government and the corporate stream media, which is really nothing more than a propaganda arm of the government. And I want to remind people of some very encouraging words that were said many years ago by the late, great Margaret Mead, when she said, quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful people can make a difference. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has," end of quote. Right. So, you know, we've got to remember that. And I go back to what we were talking about earlier at the beginning of the show, is that we have the power only if we exercise that power. We the people, black, white, brown, red, yellow people, everyday, ordinary people, but only if we exercise that power and get off the plantation.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, and get out, you know, and back away from the computer screen, you know, for an evening out of the 7-day week. If you know, we have to start talking to each other more, and show up for a meeting of anything in the community. You know, you look in the newspaper, and you know, you look in the community happenings section for the week, and there's all kinds of things. You know, just bring the body to one of them. But we here in Daytona Beach, Larry, as you know, every Thursday night, actually it was Kathy Bracewell and her Code Pink women who started this demonstration, anti-war demonstration, in December of 2005. And ever since, we've been out there every Thursday night, not just holding signs, but engaging the people by handing them flyers and DVDs when the light is red. and the cars are stopped during the drive home. And we talk to people, and it's near the black section of our city, and we talk to them about the black folks about AFRICOM and how Obama bombed the crap out of Libya 3 years ago with depleted uranium. Now the babies are being born deformed in Libya, and that it was a war crime. It was the same shock and awe war crime that George Bush did to Iraq. And we tell them that wasn't just a one-time deal. The United States military is all over Africa ever since then, doing overt and covert, secret operations. And basically the short of it is, I tell them, look, we got African American kids, other kids, people of color and poor whites in the U.S. military over in Africa killing brown and black skinned Africans. And I said, and this is the first you're hearing of it, isn't it? I say to them. And they say, yes. And I said, and your preachers aren't telling you a damn thing about it either, right? Well, that's your African American president that's ordering all this. And,
that's right.
And you'd be surprised, Larry, they listen to us. We had Brett Bracewell on with Kathy that week that you weren't able to make the show a couple months ago, and Brett had mentioned, we've been consistent the whole 8-9 years we've been out there, through the Republican administration right through the Democrat administration, and these people listen to us because they know we're for real, we're consistent, and that's an example of talking to your neighbors. I can tell you, people in the phony left and anti-war community would be terrified of saying something like that to a black person they don't even know.
Of course they'd be terrified because they're phony, just like you said, they're phony. All right, they're fakes, they're frauds, just like Obama himself is a fake and a fraud. All right, and it goes, they say manure rolls downhill. Well, they may be correct, because it's certainly rolling downhill from the White House to the Congress, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I mean, this phony left-right paradigm, this phony left-right model embodied especially by the Democrat and Republican parties, which is really nothing more than Republicrats, we've got to get away from this. And only we can do this. The corporate stream media is going to do everything it can, and by corporate stream, I'm talking about ABC, CBS, PBS, Fox News, CNN, all of them. They're all in the same trough, and they're going to do everything they can to keep us divided, ignorant, and confused. So we have got to pick up the mantle, and it's much easier to talk with people than many of us may realize. It's very easy. It's not difficult. And really listen to what the other person is saying. They'll know you're listening, and then they will give you the opportunity to share your thoughts. So that's power. That's people power. That's real power, as we used to say in the original Black Panther Party, all power to the people.
Now, Larry, with all that poop rolling downhill, I am just a little south of D.C., and I do wear hip waders with my suit. But, we are coming up on just about a minute and a half left, and I do want to make sure that you both get an opportunity to do a little bit of that all-important, blatant self-promotion. Where can people find out more about what you're doing and what you're all about? Please.
Go ahead, Larry. Thanks.
Well, I'll be very succinct, very brief. Please just go to blackactivistwg.org. That stands for Black Activist Writers Guild.org. And check it out. Go to the blog section as well at blackactivistwg.org. Also, please read Intrepid Report. I'm an associate editor and writer with Intrepid Report. That's intrepidreport.com. Actually, I need to get some more articles out, but you can find the many articles that I and other fantastic people have written and are writing on intrepidreport.com. So that pretty much sums it up for me.
Oh, great. And I do also want to mention that Larry and I will be having Bob McIlvaine on our 2-hour program Monday night, March 17th on the wolfspiritradio.com, and that'll be from 10 p.m. Eastern to midnight, Monday the 17th. And we're also going to have Dale Pierce, the father of the Iraq vet who committed suicide because the PTSD finally got to him. We've had Dale on in the past. And it should make for a good show because Dale is making the connection between the 9/11 lie and the 9/11 war that took his son. So please tune in.
Well, I tell you, Larry Pinkney and Phil Restino, I want to thank you very much for participating in this month's United We Strike Radio Marathon, and we look forward to hearing more from you next month. But I tell you, we've used up just about every second I can give you. So good night, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
Gary.
Take care.
Good night.
I cannot be silent.
Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. Everyone must play a part. Everyone's got to go to work. Work for peace. Spirit said work.
I cannot be